Good morning, good afternoon. This is a public information meeting for file number 22-07, and usually the councillor in the area, which is myself, hosts the meeting as part of the planning review process to inform the public when the municipality has received an application that may be of community interest. So the planning staff will explain the policies under which council may consider the application and the criteria used to evaluate the proposal. So no evaluation or decisions have been made at this point. And the information meeting also allows neighbors and the community members to ask questions and provide early comments via phone and email. At the end of the presentation, Mr. Robinson Mushcat will give you his information so that you can get in touch with him. And of course, you can always reach me. My name is Councillor June Granger, and I'm the councillor for District 1. And the planning staff in attendance today is Will Robinson Mushcat. He's the municipal planner. And our applicants today are Hayden Hopgood and Michael Napier. So if you would like to take it away, Will.
Certainly, Councillor. Please bear with me while I just share my screen. Okay, I just want to ensure that everyone can see the screen in front there.
Yep, absolutely.
Wonderful. Okay. So thank you. This is a recorded public information meeting for a development agreement application concerning the property or land assemblies, I should say, at 1207 Belcher Street in Port Williams. Again, my name is Will Robinson Mushcat, and I am a municipal planner with the municipality of the County of Kings. Just to reiterate the comments that Councillor Granger offered, the purpose of the meeting is as follows. It is to inform the public of the application. It is to explain the planning policies that enable this application to occur, and it is to receive preliminary feedback, questions, and comments from members of the public. Again, I'd reiterate that no opinions have been formed on this application and no decisions will be made at this time. The background and proposal are as follows. There's a land assembly consisting of 4 properties, and the site is a former sand quarry located within the Port Williams Growth Center. There's an existing residential dwelling located on one of the 4 properties fronting onto Belcher Street. The applicants are seeking to develop a residential community known as Port Ridge. The development would consist of the following. There would be 3 5-story multi-unit apartment buildings with approximately 67 1- and 2 residential units per building. A proposed 1-story neighborhood commercial development with frontage on Belcher Street. A mixture of underground and surface level parking. An area for proposed low-density dwellings with direct frontage on Belcher Street. And community gardens, amenity space, and enhanced pedestrian connection from the development to Belcher Street and to the wider Port Williams community. This is a map of the municipality of the County of Kings, and you'll see a red circle that's appearing on the screen there, and that's the approximate location of the land assembly within Port Williams. This is an aerial photograph of the subject properties that constitute the land assembly. So you'll note there is the existing single unit dwelling with frontage onto Belcher Street. That's located approximately, one second, bear with me here, located approximately right here. This is at the western end of the Port Williams Growth Center. So you'll note that Belcher Street runs kind of coming out of the Port Williams community, heading towards North Kentville in this direction, and the intersection of Sutton Road and Belcher Street is here as well, with entrance to the former sand quarry. One second. So this is a future land use map of the subject properties in the surrounding areas. So you'll note that the 4 properties are within the residential designation, as are the properties on the opposite side of Belcher Street and those east of the subject properties, kind of headed towards the Port Williams community. And the properties outside of the residential designation fall within the agricultural designation, that are outside of the Port Williams Growth Center. This is a zoning map of the subject properties and the surrounding area. So you'll note that 2 of the 4 properties, including the property where the existing single-family dwelling is located, are zoned R3, residential mixed density, and most likely at least a portion of this property would be outside of the development agreement, but certainly some of the land might be needed to incorporate to meet the entrance requirements for the access requirements for the proposed development. The 2 large properties that form part of this land assembly fall within the comprehensive neighborhood development zone, and so this zone is intended for large planned residential developments via development agreement. The R3 zone, which is on the opposite side of Belcher Street and towards the east, is really intended for a mixture of housing densities and forms, consisting of low density single and 2-unit dwellings to small apartments and townhouses. And the properties outside of the R3 and R5 zones fall within the agricultural A1 zone or the environmental constraints O1 zone, closer to the Cornwallis River. This is a photograph taken of the subject property via drone. So you'll note this is looking kind of southward towards the Cornwallis River in the background. You'll note the existing single-family dwelling on the subject property, and then the intersection just on the right-hand side of Sutton Road and Belcher Street, and some of the existing housing stock surrounding the subject properties and land assembly and the parking area and baseball field for the elementary school just on the left-hand side there. This is a photograph again taken via drone of the land assembly, and this is looking northward. So this photograph, I think, provides a good example of the kind of mature vegetative cover on the subject property and kind of the physical characteristics and topography that kind of set back the area proposed for development, the former kind of sand quarry there, from the existing residential development and agricultural developments in the immediate proximity. And then of course in the background you can see, particularly up to the right-hand corner there, some of the residential developments within the Port Williams community. This is a site plan that's been submitted by the applicant of the subject of the land assembly in the area proposed for the development. So you'll note, so I'll turn on the pointer here again. So there are 3 proposed 5-story buildings containing approximately 67 units, one here, and then one here as well, with entrance to the proposed development from, at least in the western point, kind of this intersection where Sutton Road and Belcher Street intersect, going into the development and then out to the kind of the eastern end here. Again, this is the existing single unit dwelling, which is intended to remain. And a mixture of, again, underground parking servicing the 3 multi-unit buildings, and then some surface level parking as well, and surface level parking intended to serve the neighborhood commercial here, and as well some of the kind of the walking trails that would be installed as part of the development, and then an area proposed for kind of community terrace and playgrounds, and then some community gardens as well. So this is a photograph taken of the subject property, that western entrance. This is the intersection of Sutton Road and Belcher Street. This was taken last Friday on what I believe is the 4th of March, if I'm not mistaken. So this would be the kind of where that western entrance to development would be installed. This is a photograph taken of roughly the same location, looking west on Belcher Street as it exits the Port Williams community, going towards North Kentville. This is a photograph taken looking in basically the southeast direction. So this would be the approximate location of that proposed neighborhood commercial building. This is a photograph taken kind of right in essentially the middle of the existing sand quarry. This is looking directly east, so this would be the approximate location of that middle of the three buildings. This is a photograph taken looking kind of in the northeast direction. So this gives a good perspective of the physical characteristics that kind of sand berm and the existing mature vegetation that would shelter and kind of create a buffer between the proposed residential development and then the existing community in Port Williams. This is a photograph looking directly south, kind of back towards the Cornwallis River, and this would be kind of looking at that amenity area that's proposed and the area for that middle of the three buildings, and kind of in the approximate location of where some of the surface parking or community gardens would be. This is the existing kind of access leading out of the subject properties, the land assembly. Again, kind of providing an example of the physical characteristics and the existing vegetation that would provide a buffer between the proposed development and the existing residential and development along Belcher Street. This would be looking in a south-southwest direction on the subject property, kind of towards the rear of the subject property. So this is likely kind of in the area where that middle building would be, and kind of looking towards where some of the walking trails would be installed as part of the development. This is that eastern vehicular access point. So just off to the kind of left-hand side of this photo is the existing residential dwelling. So this would be the vehicular access point on the eastern end of the development. You can see some of the agricultural uses kind of in the background of this photo. This is a photograph of Belcher Street looking eastward towards Port Williams from the subject property. You can see on the right-hand side the Port Williams Elementary School in the background. And this is a photograph roughly taken in the same location, but looking westward along Belcher Street. You can see some of the existing residential dwellings on the opposite side of Belcher Street. So with regard to the policies that enable council to consider this application, within the land use bylaw, section 4.71, the zone purpose of the R5 zone is described as follows. The purpose of the comprehensive neighborhood development R5 zone is to enable the development of large-scale and comprehensively planned neighborhoods by development agreement. Excuse me. And further, land use bylaw section 4.74, use is considered by a development agreement. Pursuant to the municipal planning strategy, uses noted below may be considered by development agreement within the comprehensive neighborhood development R5 zone. A, the development of comprehensively planned neighborhood developments in accordance with policies 3.113 and 3.114 of the municipal planning strategy. MPS policy 3.1.11, council shall zone as comprehensive neighborhood development R5 lands that are intended to enable the development of large-scale and comprehensively planned neighborhoods, and this zone may be applied to areas that are A, a minimum of 5 acres in size, B, would benefit from a public planning process, such as lands that are predominantly located within an established community, and C, need to be well integrated with surrounding lands to meet the goals of this strategy, including, but not limited to, areas that require the construction of important transportation infrastructure that contain or abut environmentally sensitive features, or where an innovative development form is desired. 3.1.12, Council shall permit within the comprehensive neighborhood development zone a limited amount of as-of-right development that is not expected to prevent future comprehensive development planning, including but not limited to forestry uses, agriculture, and the limited expansion of existing uses. MPS Policy 3.1.13, Council shall consider only by development agreement proposals for comprehensive plan neighborhood developments within the comprehensive neighborhood development zone, and in evaluating such development agreements, council shall be satisfied that the proposal A, consists of land uses that are consistent with the intent of the residential designation, including but not limited to residential uses, community facilities, recreational facilities, and commercial uses intended to serve the neighborhood. B, provide a mix of housing options rather than only one building type. C, has an overall minimum density of 4 units per acre for developments serviced by central sewer and water, and similar density for unserviced developments, provided the environment can sustainably support proposed density. D, has a neutral or positive long-term impact on municipal finances, as shown by a fiscal impact analysis, or the community and environmental benefits outweigh the costs. E, includes appropriate phasing to ensure orderly development that minimizes the creation of vacant parcels of land between the existing developed lands and the proposed site. F, results in public infrastructure that is efficient to service and maintain. G, encourages active transportation by providing sufficient sidewalks, pathways, and/or trails consistent with the transportation infrastructure policies contained in Section 2.3 Infrastructure of the Municipal Planning Strategy. H, minimizes environmental impacts by protecting sensitive natural features and incorporating low-impact approaches for managing stormwater. I, provides a minimum 100-foot wide vegetative buffer within comprehensive neighborhood development R5 zones adjacent to the agricultural A1 zone. And this buffer area must be entirely contained within the development and may be used for park, recreational, and service utility purposes, but must not contain buildings for any other use. And the width of this buffer area may be reduced where natural or built features, including but not limited to ravine, watercourse, or road, create a buffer within the agricultural A1 zone. J, notwithstanding the minimum requirements set out in the subdivision bylaw, provides a minimum of 10% open space contribution. K, utilizes alternative road, lot, and servicing and other infrastructure standards where appropriate. L, provides sufficient vehicle and pedestrian transportation linkages with any adjacent town, village, or property through the dedication of land intended for use as a road reserve. M, complements existing planned development within adjacent town or village in location, design, and any linkages between town or village and municipal infrastructure. And N, meets the development agreement criteria set out in Section 5.3, Development Agreements and Amending the Land Use Bylaw. So policy 3.1.13 is really intended to be a very comprehensive review of these lands that are intended for large scale planned residential development that's set forth in the R5 zone. Finally, MPS policy 3.1.14, consider including lands outside of the comprehensive neighborhood development R5 zone in a development agreement that applies to lands within the comprehensive neighborhood development R5 zone without an amendment to the land use bylaw to expand the zone. And in considering such an addition, council shall be satisfied that the lands abut a comprehensive neighborhood development zone, and B, the lands in the comprehensive neighborhood development zone development agreement demonstratively contribute to protecting natural features, improving transportation linkages, or facilitating the development of isolated properties. Finally, returning to the final point of MPS policy 3.1.13, ensuring that the proposal meets the general criteria set forth in the municipal planning strategy. So these are the criteria that all planning applications that come before the municipality are evaluated against, and they're contained within policy 5.3.7 of the municipal planning strategy. So that the proposal is in keeping with the intent of the municipal planning strategy, that the proposal meets the goals and objectives and policies of the MPS, that there's no undue negative financial impact on the municipality as a result of the proposed use, that the surrounding land uses are compatible with the proposed use, that there is adequate supply and reasonable proximity of school, recreation, and community facilities for the proposed use, that there would be no undue creation of traffic hazards or congestion as part of the proposed use, that there's adequate fire protection and services available for the proposed use, that there's adequate sewer and water services available for the proposed use, that there'd be no undue creation or potential for flooding or serious drainage problems as a result of the proposed use, no negative impacts on well fields or other groundwater supplies, that any chances of pollution such as soil erosion and siltation of watercourses are mitigated as part of the proposed use. No negative impacts on lake water quality or wetlands as a result of the proposed use, and no negative impacts on neighboring farming operations as a result of the proposed use. And finally, the site is suitable in terms of its physical characteristics, the grade, soils, geological conditions, location of watercourses, marshes, bogs, swamps, and proximity to utility right-of-ways. So staff, when evaluating this or any other planning application, look to these criteria to ensure they've been met and any issues are addressed as part of the staff's review of a planning application. Finally, with regard to the development agreement process and timeline, a complete application has been received by the municipality, and we're at the early stages of the planning process, hosting a virtual public information meeting and inviting members of the public to submit questions and comments pertaining to this application. Following the completion of our virtual public information meeting, staff will review the application based on the policies outlined in this presentation and the general criteria found within the municipal planning strategy. Staff would draft a report as well that would go to the Port Williams Area Advisory Committee for their review and recommendation on the development agreement proposal. This would be followed by review and recommendation by the municipality's planning advisory committee, and their review and recommendation would go to council. Council would then host initial consideration where a public hearing would be scheduled, and a public hearing is again an opportunity for the public to comment on the development agreement application. Properties within 500 feet will be notified of the public hearing via letter mail, and a public hearing is also advertised twice in the local newspaper of record. Following the public hearing, final consideration would occur where council would vote to approve or deny the development agreement application. And following council's decision at final consideration, there's a 14-day appeal period of council's decision to the Utility and Review Board as mandated in the Municipal Government Act. With that, I will leave my contact information on the screen for members of the public to submit questions and provide comments on the proposed application. My name, Will Robinson, Mushcat Planner with the Municipality of the County of Kings, and I can be reached via phone 902-690-6173, via email at wrobinson-mushcat, M-U-S-H-K-A-T, at countyofkings.ca, and finally via our website, www.countyofkings.ca/planning. With that, I will turn the mic back over to you, Councillor Granger, as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Will. Now, do either Hayden or Michael, do you have anything that you would like to add?
I have just kind of a quick blurb, just to kind of describe our vision of the project. Yeah, so I guess I'll kind of formally introduce myself. My name is Hayden Hopgood. I'm the son of Brad and Connie Hopgood. My folks live at the property there now. I grew up in Port Williams, and I lived on Main Street in the house with the copper roof. Witnessed Port Williams expand substantially over the years, and we're really excited about the opportunity to develop it further. Growing up, I watched Planter Square blossom, the vibrant community it is now, and more recently, we watched the developments on the eastern side of the community with the pub and the Collins Road developments. We're looking to build a small community at my folks' land to help Williams grow the way with these other projects. We want to build, manage, and own 3 apartment buildings with an emphasis on land pay. Our development would enable families to grow within the community rather than seeking housing elsewhere. In addition, the development would be inclusive to seniors and incorporate designs that would allow them to seamlessly transition from their households to a downsized lifestyle. The development wouldn't be a seniors facility. However, we would market and design towards a mature style of living. We plan to build quality, modern buildings using energy efficient techniques. The 3 buildings would be clustered behind the pre-existing wooded berm wilt that you had previously mentioned, and would be hardly noticeable from the road frontage. I think you touched on a few of these. The site amenities would include community gardens, a playground, and a trail system that would connect to the pre-existing trail system that goes up towards the elementary school. We feel this is exactly what Port Williams needs at this time, and we're really excited to bring this project to fruition and help Port Williams continue to flourish. Thanks. Yeah, it's
Wonderful. Thank you. Michael, do you have anything to add? All right. Well, for public comments, please make sure that when you are contacting either Mr. Mushcat or myself, that you provide your full name and your civic address when you're submitting your questions or concerns. And again, that information is available through our website, or as Will mentioned earlier on the screen, he can be reached by phone or email. I think that's everything we have for today. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
All right.